All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going way beyond just polling reports and go high level. We're going to talk about how to turn all that data you're collecting into actual smart decisions that can really push a business forward.
Does this look familiar? I mean, are you ever just swimming in spreadsheets, clicking between a dozen different dashboards, and at the end of it all, you have this mountain of numbers, but no clue what to do next? It's that classic problem, right? All noise and very little signal. And this slide just hits the nail on the head. You've got the old way, which is just organized chaos. You're manually trying to stitch together data from your email provider, your ad platforms, your CRM. It is a total nightmare. The whole promise of a platform like Go High Level is to sweep all that away and give you one single unified place for everything. So here's our game plan. First, we'll really define what that reporting problem is. Then we'll lay out a framework for actually finding insights. After that, we'll dive into GHL's specific tools, show how to automate the whole process, and finally give you the honest verdict on this all-in-one approach. Okay, first things first. Let's properly frame this challenge because it's something that basically every business and marketing agency is wrestling with. Right. Here's the absolute heart of the issue. Most of us are drowning in data. We have clicks, opens, impressions, leads. We've got numbers coming out of our ears. But what we're really starved for is wisdom. See, the goal isn't just to collect a bunch of data points. It's to find the story, the narrative that tells you what's actually working, what's a waste of time, and most importantly, why. And that brings us to a really, really important shift in mindset. It's all about changing how we even think about reporting. A good report shouldn't just be a history lesson telling you what happened last month. It needs to be a roadmap that helps you decide what you're going to do next week. This is where something called an outcome-driven approach comes in. It sounds a little corporate, but it's actually super simple. Before you even think about opening a dashboard, you have to ask yourself, what are we actually trying to do here? Is the goal to get more sales calls, increase customer loyalty? Once you know the outcome you want, then you can pick the right data to track. It's amazing how many people get that backward. Now this is where the magic happens. Look at this first example. The observation is just a fact. Hey, traffic for recipe posts spikes before Christmas. Okay, interesting. But the insight is the why. People are planning their big holiday meals way in advance. And then bam, the action becomes totally obvious. We need to publish this stuff 1 or 2 months earlier. That little loop, observation, insight, action, is the engine that turns data into strategy. So to build a rapport that actually gives you those aha moments, it really boils down to these two things. First, like we said, start with the outcome. Know your goal. And second, have a hypothesis. Don't just stare at the data hoping for an answer. Start with a question, like, I bet that our new email subject lines are boosting open rates. That gives your whole analysis a purpose. Okay, so we've covered the why, we've got the framework. Now let's pop the hood and look at the how, the actual tools inside Go High Level that let you put all this into practice. So right out of the box, inside Go High Level, you get these heavy hitters. You can pull in your Google and Facebook ads data, which is huge, but the attribution report, that's where things get really interesting. You can finally start to see which channels brought someone to you for the very first time and which ones actually sealed the deal at the end. Plus, you've got detailed call reporting, which is critical for a lot of businesses. Now, here's a super important detail, especially if you're running an agency. As this YouTuber, It's Keaton, points out, the ability to create rolled-up reports, which means seeing a summary of all your client accounts in one big dashboard, is a premium feature. It's one of the main reasons people upgrade to the higher-tier Agency Pro plan. It gives you that bird's-eye view. All right, this is where GHL reporting stops being just a static dashboard and becomes a living, breathing part of your business. The real secret sauce is the automation engine that doesn't just capture data, but immediately acts on it. Let's just walk through a really simple but powerful example. A potential customer fills out a form on your website. That's the trigger. Instantly, a workflow can tag them as a hot lead and then create a new card for them in your sales pipeline. The beauty of this is that you can then run a report specifically on how that hot lead stage is growing. You see, you're actively organizing your data for better reporting in real time. And believe me, these workflows can get incredibly creative. I mean, check out this real question from a user on Reddit. They want to trigger a workflow from a survey, send the answers to Chatgpt to generate a custom quote, and then automatically email a payment link. Wow! Now, for that kind of advanced stuff, you might need to hook up an external tool like Zapier, but it just shows you the ceiling of what's possible here. So let's pull back for a second and give an honest, balanced assessment. What are the real pros and cons of betting your business on a single, all in one platform like GoHighLevel?
This comes straight from real user discussions, and it paints a super clear picture. On the one hand, the pros are massive. It's an all in one powerhouse that can potentially replace a whole bunch of other software subscriptions. But the cons are real, too. Users talk about it being a bit clunky sometimes, with occasional bugs or outdated help docs. And you have to be aware of the microtransactions for things like texts and emails on top of your subscription. But this number, 99%, I think that really says it all. This user's take is that you can scale an entire sales and marketing department on almost nothing but GHL. It's for that person who values raw power and consolidation over perfect polish, someone who's willing to work around a few quirks to get that incredible all-in-one scalability.
And that really leaves us with the big final question, doesn't it? As these platforms keep gobbling up more and more features, your CRM, your funnel builder, your reporting, your automation, are we headed for a future where every business just runs on one single massive tool? Or will there always be a place for specialized, best-in-class software? It's a really fascinating trend to keep an eye on.